A federal court case in the Southern District of Ohio could have major implications for the church and Catholic charitable organizations. In Buckeye Institute versus IRS, the issue of donor privacy is in question for tax-exempt organizations, specifically whether the IRS can keep information on donors. Recently, one of the largest Catholic advocacy organizations in the U.S., Catholic Vote, added its name to an amicus brief in support of the Buckeye Institute, fearing negative ramifications for the church if the IRS wins. And joining us now is the president of Catholic Vote, Burch. Brian, great to have you back on. We appreciate it. Can you give us a little bit more background on this court case and also why you thought it was so important for Catholics to be represented?
Yes, no, thank you. This is a very important case coming out of Ohio, and it's likely to make its way to the Supreme Court eventually. And really what this case is about is whether nonprofit organizations, whether my own or the Catholic Church itself and religious or educational institutions, should be required to disclose to the IRS as a part of their tax returns the schedule of their donors by name and address. And the concern here is that the IRS is able to get this information by other means, but because these tax returns are made public by the IRS, left-wing organizations have increasingly used this information to target donors, to shame them, to cancel them, to protest their businesses, to protest their homes. And frankly, this, in our opinion, is a violation of the First Amendment. Donors to religious organizations or causes of this type, their privacy should be protected, and the IRS should not be weaponized and used as a tool by left-wing groups to target individuals in this country.
Yeah, Brian, I talk a little bit more about that retribution can lead to really a chilling effect. Tell us maybe a little bit more, how you see that possibly affecting the Catholic Church and other Catholic charitable organizations.
Sure. Well, I can be very specific. This is not a theoretical possibility. In 2014, a rogue agent inside the IRS took the tax return of the National Organization for Marriage and released the names of those donors to the public. The names of those donors were then posted online and were used by gay rights groups to harass those donors. And so you ask yourself, if you donate or make a contribution of some significance to a religious charity, particularly if that charity is engaged in some type of advocacy that left-wing ideologues don't agree with, are you comfortable with that information being shared publicly and for that to be distributed to some of these groups that frankly are prone to very aggressive tactics, including in some cases violence?
Brian, what else do you want people to know about this case?
Well, I think we need to be aware that when we talk about the weaponization of the government, we're not just talking about the FBI or the Department of Justice. We're talking about the very subtle ways in which what seemingly innocuous agencies like the IRS, who are collecting our taxes, are also being used by left-wing advocacy groups and left-wing activists to target political opponents. And this is just another example of the dangerous way in which we need to insist that our First Amendment rights be protected, that our rights to religious liberty are sacrosanct, that the Constitution is there for a purpose. And we need to be very vigilant. In this case, may only be in Ohio now, but we believe it's headed higher up, and we think Catholics in particular need to be paying close attention.
All right, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll continue to follow it. Brian, thank you so much for your insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.